Hi, let's talk about the confidence trap and why waiting to feel ready actually keeps you stuck. Oh, if only I felt more confident, I could do it. I hear versions of this sentence quite often in my coaching conversations. People come to me with ideas, ambitions, and possibilities. They may want to explore a career change, apply for a new role, build a stronger professional network, or speak up more at work. Maybe even just create a life abroad that feels more aligned with who they are. They have ideas, they have skills. They often even know what their next step could be, but they are waiting for one thing: confidence. They tell themselves, when I feel more confident, I'll apply. When I feel more confident, I'll start networking. Or when I feel more confident, I will take that risk. It sounds logical. After all, shouldn't we feel confident before doing something difficult? But this way of thinking creates a trap. Because confidence is often not what comes before action, confidence is what grows because of action. The myth of feeling ready first. Many of us imagine confidence as something we need to find before we begin. One day we will feel ready. We will have enough certainty, enough proof, and enough reassurance that things will work out. Then we will take the step. But life rarely works like that. Our brain naturally prefers certainty. When we face uncertainty, we often look for reassurance that things will work out before we begin. It is a perfectly human response. And this can be especially true when living abroad. Moving to another country often means navigating unfamiliar systems, different cultural expectations, and situations where we no longer feel as competent or in control as we once did. Wanting confidence before taking the next step makes complete sense. The problem is that confidence rarely arrives before we begin. More often, it develops because we begin. Think about learning a new skill. Most people do not become confident when they start practicing. They practice while feeling uncertain. They make mistakes, they improve, they learn what works. And slowly, the brain starts collecting evidence. I can do this. I can learn this. I can handle challenges. So confidence grows because we have experiences that show us that we are capable of. This is also why having a growth mindset can be so valuable. Instead of seeing challenges as proof that we are not capable, we can see them as opportunities to learn, opportunities to develop and discover what support or skills we need. So, why is it that this can feel even harder abroad? This challenge can feel especially intense for international professionals. Moving country often means leaving behind many things that contributed to our confidence: familiar systems, professional reputation, cultural knowledge and trusted relationships, or just the feeling of knowing how things work. I remember working with a highly experienced professional who had recently moved and told me, "Hey, I already have the perfect job. I love it, but it's back in my home country." She had built a successful career and knew exactly what she was good at. But moving abroad meant facing a difficult reality. She needed to create a new professional path in a new environment. The challenge was not simply finding another job. The pressure she felt was find another perfect job. Anything else felt like it would mean she had failed somehow, failed to make the relocation work, failed to recreate success she had already achieved, or failed to build the career she wanted abroad. But the process was not about recreating the past. It was about redefining what success looked like in a new context. Sometimes the hardest part is not building a new future. It is allowing ourselves to stop measuring that future against the one we left behind. And that required more than confidence. It required curiosity, experimentation, and trust that she could create something new. So let's see how confidence comes from evidence. Psychologist Albert Bandura's research on self-efficacy, that is our belief in our ability to handle challenges, highlights an important point. One of the strongest ways we develop confidence is through mastery experiences. I mean, in simple terms, we trust ourselves more when we have evidence that we can handle difficult situations. We do not become confident speaking a new language and then start conversations. No, you start conversations, survive uncomfortable moments, sometimes even embarrassing ones, learn from them, and gradually become more confident. You do not become confident networking and then build relationships. No, you reach out, you have conversations, discover what works, and become more comfortable at it. You do not become comfortable making career decisions and then explore possibilities. Instead, you explore possibilities, gather information, experiment, and slowly develop trust in your own judgment, as well as in your ability to adjust when an experiment does not go as expected. Over time, your brain collects evidence. I can do this. This is also a big part of the work I support my clients with, creating the space and structure to move from uncertainty to meaningful action. So confidence is often the result of the process, not the requirement to begin it. Confidence is built through action, but not through just doing it. When people hear messages like, take action, or just do it, it can sometimes feel frustrating. Because what does that actually mean? Should we ignore our doubts? Should we jump into every opportunity without thinking? Should we force ourselves to be fearless? I don't think so. The problem is not that we need to act without thinking. The problem is when we believe we need complete certainty before taking the first step. So courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to take thoughtful action while uncertainty is still present. It means saying, I don't know exactly how this will work out, but I am willing to learn. It makes sense to try this out. It means reflecting, gathering information, experimenting, and adjusting along the way. A failed experiment is not proof that you made the wrong decision. It is information that helps you make a better next decision. So, what can you do when confidence feels missing? Well, the question is not, am I confident enough to do this? No, a more useful question might be, what is the smallest step I can take that helps me learn more? So instead of thinking, I need to know my perfect career direction before making a change, try, hey, what conversation could help me understand my options better? And instead of thinking, well, I need to feel comfortable networking before I do it, try, hey, who is one person I could have a genuine conversation with this month? Or instead of, I need to feel ready before I start, just try. What experiment, what tiny step could give me more information? Small actions create experiences. Experiences create evidence, and evidence builds confidence. So you don't need to become a different person before you begin. One of the biggest misconceptions about confidence is that we need to transform ourselves first. That one day we will become the confident person who takes action. But often, the process works the other way around. The confident person is created through the actions they create. The next step does not need to be a big leap. It can be a conversation, an experiment, a new habit, a small decision that moves you slightly closer to the life you want to create. So every time you try something new, navigate uncertainty, learn from a mistake, or discover that you can handle more than you thought, you strengthen your trust in yourself. You do not need to eliminate every doubt before moving forward. What you need is to build a relationship with yourself where you know you can learn, adapt, and keep going. So perhaps the question is not, do I feel confident enough? Perhaps. It is, A, what is one small action I can take today that will help me trust myself a little more? And just as an extra note, just to let you know that the client I mentioned above eventually found a new role in a similar sector, but a very different role from a previous one. From the outside, some people might have seen it as less than the perfect job she had before. But she later told me, I love my new job so much. I would not mind just retiring while still doing this. So she also realized that some elements of her perfect job were not actually things she wanted to carry forward. Sometimes creating something new also means allowing ourselves to question what we thought we wanted and what we choose to leave behind. See you in my next video.